presenting Channeling Erik's Hour of Enlightenment.
Hey guys, welcome Erik, welcome listeners, Kim, Erik's voice. For you guys who do not know, Erik is a spirit guide and my son. He's going to talk again, and I think it's part 3, isn't it, Kim? About how to communicate with our loved ones who have crossed over. And apparently Kim said he's been talking to her and has a lot to say. So first of all, I want to thank liveparanormal.com for allowing us to do this on their radio station. They've got some great shows. But second of all, I think we should just get right into it, Erik. Go for it. I love you, baby.
He says, I love you, Mom. He says, you know I love you. He's like real sweet, real mushy. He does, you guys. He has a lot to say today. This, I think, he's been kind of talking to me since, probably 5:30 or 6 o'clock tonight about the show. He has a lot to say, and he's really coming from a passionate place. So I hope that you guys can meet him there in this passion and compassion. You guys know Erik. He's saying that tonight's the home run. Tonight he's going to hit a home run, so he's awful proud of himself. So as you guys know, the last couple of weeks on the show, we've been talking about how to maintain a connection with your loved ones in heaven on the other side. And we've talked about tangible ways, hands-on things that you can do physically to feel and maintain that connection with your loved ones. Tonight's going to be intangible.
Sorry to interject, but you guys, these are in the archives of the radio show, which you can find on iTunes, on the Channeling Erik podcast, or Spreaker.com. If you go to, I think if you search for DR, like Dr. Medhus, M-E-D-H-U-S, or Channeling Erik, or perhaps it's under Hour of Enlightenment. I'm not sure, but check those out, and you can look at the last couple of weeks, and if you happen to miss it. Okay, go for it.
Yeah, that'll be great to get you guys caught up if you haven't heard the previous ones. So previously we've talked about tangible ways, and tonight is all intangible. It's the hands-off approach. This is the heart approach, Erik says. And I think he has a lot to say, so we're going to try our best to get through it so that we can take your guys' questions. But I hope you guys have your ears on and your hearts open because his energy is intense. And when he's intense, he has a lot to say. When we go through loss, he says, I'm really going to try my best to not cry, but I might cry. Because, Elisa, when he connects to you and grounds to your energy and points to you, uses you as an example, that's when the emotions come in. And that's what he's doing. And because he really, you guys know this story. This story isn't just a story. This is Elisa's reality. This is Elisa's family's reality, what they've gone through. And Erik wants you to keep this in mind as you guys listen to tonight's message, because he really wants to reveal in a new way, in an intimate way, what his mom has gone through. Because the light that he wants to shed on it tonight, he says, is hopefully going to bring you guys new perspective, not only in my mom's story, he says, but a new way for you to look at what you're going through. Whether it's the loss of a loved one, loss of a job, we deal with loss. Okay, he wants to call it poverty for a minute. So just bear with us in thought here. He looks at it in poverty. When you can allow yourself, he says, you guys, if my mom didn't allow herself to absorb and sort of become the poverty that she was experiencing. Poverty has nothing to do with money right now, he says. So just keep this in mind. Poverty being, this deep sense of loss. And when my mom could allow herself to sit with that and really soak it in, but to look at that poverty knowing that these are his words, resurrection in it. There's resurrection in that. Like, that's the very place that will turn you around and help you maintain a connection. He says, Mom, he says, and for everybody listening, if you guys think about and look at the way my mom has these are his words, revamped herself in what she's gone through with my physical death. The way my death has not only been her place of poverty, like her crucifixion, but also her resurrection, he says. Because it's okay, so he says to tell you guys, whatever, and he's been talking like this all day, all night, your resurrection can only occur at the place you were crucified. So you can only, you have to meet your grief. You have to become one with it and understand it. If you
so
avoid
painful.
it.
Oh, so painful.
Yeah, and he says if you avoid it, you avoid life and you don't know yourself. So it's really a really intimate sense of knowing yourself through this experience. So, and it's like literally what he's showing me is like you have to be intimate enough with yourself to let yourself pour your guts out, pour your heart out, and express it. If you hide it, run from it, stifle it, you're separating yourself from your reality, which causes more pain and just perpetuates the cycle of pain. But if he says, if you take the very thing that was your crucifixion at some point in time and allow it to also change you and look at it through the silver lining and allow it to better you, then look what happens. He's like, look at my mom. She's coming out on top in a sense because she has turned this thing around to help so many people, and she knows it. And that's good. That's the good in this. He says that she knows it. She can help people through.
Well, I didn't really have much choice because I know myself well enough to know that the way I heal best is by helping others. That's why I enjoyed being a physician and so on. So I really didn't have any other place to go with that. I'm not the kind of person to just stuff things inside. It hurts too much to have that inside and keep to myself.
And that's the key. You said it perfectly, because when you said I know myself enough to know, that's the key, Mom. That's what he's talking about. Knowing yourself on that intimate level to sort of be reborn again into riches through your poverty. But again, we're not talking about money. Riches is being of healthy mind, healthy body, and you can only do that through your poverty. That's the avenue, that's the energy that you use. And he says if you can use that impoverished state, I can't pronounce that word. He says if you can use that to he keeps saying rebirth, to be reborn in, or if you can more so think of it like allow. He says if you can allow yourself to be reborn again through what you think is poverty, then you'll actually know that your poverty was your riches all along. That was your abundance.
Just from my standpoint, I can tell you that losing a child has got to be the worst thing that can happen to a human being. And I think what happens is that, in my case at least, and I can't speak for everybody, it just breaks you down into rubble. And then here you are standing alone in that rubble, and you have to decide what you're going to build with it. What are you going to build? A better you? Are you going to build a better situation, a stronger family? Or are you going to just mire yourself in that rubble and do nothing, or build something even worse, like a life full of resentment and anger and sorrow and so on? So I think the big thing is at least we have a choice. We can decide what to do with all that rubble from our broken hearts.
Exactly. And he says that's where your power is. That's where you can regain and reclaim your personal power, your riches, your abundance. Because when you reconnect with your personal power, knowing that, because, okay, bear with me, he's talking really fast. He says what you're doing in essence is you're not only rebuilding yourself and allowing yourself to rebuild, but should you have chosen the other to stop living, to be always in sorrow, always in sadness, always in remorse, regret, you're employing death. Like you're always keeping yourself in a state of death. You're like depriving yourself of life, of living, and that's even more tragic. He's like, that's the worst thing. He has his hands up in his hair, and he's like pacing. He says that's the worst thing of all is when someone decides that they're done, that they give up, that they quit. He says, I know it's hard because you're human and you're on that dense plane with those dense emotions, but he's been saying this a lot, you must choose to be above that. You must choose to see your way out. But only you can do it. Only you can. You have to be intimate enough with yourself and your poverty to be reborn into your riches. And then he says that's when you get to look back and smile, thinking, well, what I thought was my poverty is actually my riches. But when he says riches in your case, Elisa, he's talking about it didn't take Erik's passing to realize this, and he doesn't want you guys to perceive this way. But looking back, like you've developed deep bonds, not only with family, but with this extended family worldwide of the blog members, and so
I'm so blessed.
That in turn is the abundance returned to you because you've used that poverty to turn it around, to be intimate with. And so he's telling you guys, as you go through the loss of a loved one, when you go through that feeling of loss, feeling empty, feeling like, unfulfilled or nothingness, when you can first allow yourself to be intimate with that, like in a sense of don't be ashamed of it, don't hide it, just accept it. Then you can move forward in it. Then you can look back and realize that was the place where you were resurrected into new life, like reborn. He keeps showing this image of being reborn. So first, I encourage all of you guys, based on what he's saying, to look at it in a different light when you go through these losses, when you maintain your connections with your loved ones, and being able to see how this loss could potentially make you know yourself deeper. That in turn will provide that stronger connection with your loved one on the other side. So, and he's talking about.
It's almost like when you lose somebody, you are robbed of power, and so you just have to find your power elsewhere. And and that's the choice is how to empower yourself through loss. And I think we can extend this past just losing a loved one. I think we can apply your principles, Erik, to any kind of loss, or am I wrong?
Yeah, well, you're right. I mean, that's kind of like what he was saying in the beginning. No matter what kind of loss you're going through, he says, Mom, there comes a time when you can rely on self. There comes a time when you rely on something outside of self, something bigger and greater than self, but knowing that you're still a part of that bigness, God, the essence of God. So if it's a loss of a job, if it's the loss of a loved one, a pet, a relationship, whatever it may be, allow yourself first to be intimate with that state of poverty, because you get to know yourself better. You find new avenues to travel down, he says, to restore yourself. So as you guys are coping with the loss of a loved one and looking for ways to find deeper connection, go to the place where you gave up connection with them, or the place where you felt lost in knowing them. Do I still know them? Are they still here? Do they give me signs? Go to the place where you sort of let go of your faith in that. He says, and turn that around, like pick it back up and try again. He keeps showing this image of like, go to the place where you dropped all your bags, pick them back up, and keep going. And bags represent your loved ones, your connection, your faith. So this is the heart, though. He says you have to get into the heart space, because as long as you're in the head space, you're going to argue with self, with reality. And then when you become so enclosed into yourself, within yourself, and reliant on yourself, when you don't also open the heart to rely on something bigger than, you can't possibly open up and connect to someone outside of yourself. This kind of goes back to ego. When you're self-centered or egocentric and just depending on self, or even worse, doubting self, he says, then you've missed it. You've missed it. You have to remember to keep open space in your heart and be in the heart to connect to your loved ones. That's where they're going to be. And he's kind of laughing and saying, it's so cliche, but it's no wonder all along in these movies we see, these sad movies when someone's passing away and they say, oh, I'll always be in your heart. Erik says, well, duh. He says you have to go to the heart to connect. The head is too temporal. It's too earthbound. The heart is bigger than that. So he's encouraging you guys to allow yourselves to be intimate with the places where you feel impoverished, where you feel this is the word that he uses, and I hope you guys understand what he's saying here, because there's like no jokes tonight. He's being real serious. He says,
well, that's
place where, he's really, like I said, he's really passionate about this. Go to the place where you felt stripped, where you felt naked in something, like that sense of loss that was so deep, where you felt like you had nothing left. And go back to, that's the place where you will find your own rebirth, your own resurrection. And in that resurrection, that's where that continued connection abides. So I hope that makes sense to you guys, and I hope his guidance helps.
Let me ask Erik. I can ask you a question. You say to listen to your heart. Is there a simple, when you get to that raw, naked place that your loss has brought you to? Is there a question we can ask our hearts to find out what we need to find out?
Yeah, you bring up a great point, which with him is bringing out even more perspective. He says, don't wait till you get to that point. He says, do it before. Okay. And what he's saying is, and of course he's still going to give guidance and answer your question, but he says, the question is, who am I? So know yourself outside of, and I know this is a tall order, but hopefully you guys can, understand what he's saying. He says, know yourself outside of attachments to any people, any man, any person. Because if you can know yourself deeply, the loss won't be as damaging. So he's back and forth with that, though. He's like teeter-tottering. There's a lot he could say on that. But first of all, when you know yourself deeply, deeply on a soul level, without attachments to other people, you then know that connection remains. When you're in that place of nakedness and you feel completely stripped, like they're gone, and it feels like such a sense of loss. When you get to that place, Mom, he says, when you're in that place, you've lost a loved one and you feel like you have nothing, that too is where you ask yourself, you start to rebuild and asking yourself, okay, who am I? And you are not your job. He says, I'm sorry to tell you, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news or break it to you, he says, but you're not your job. You're not your titles. You're not your money in the bank, any of those things. You're not your lifestyle.
For me, asking that question when I was in that lonely, horrible place, it was, I asked, who am I? And the answer was, I'm a healer. And so that's how I embarked on the path, not only about discovery and finding out where Erik was and what he could tell me about his new life and about his new place, but also that I needed to heal people in order to heal myself.
Yeah. Because he says, Mom, he loves what you speak. He's like he's like playing the music, the clouds parting and the angels sing. When you said that, because if you can allow healing to flow through you, you're allowing healing to flow to you. He says. So if you can open up and be that conduit, you're being that conduit because you are it. You heal others because you are it itself. You embody, that higher vibration, that healing. So when you guys ask yourself that, who am I? Don't force the answer. Don't look for, okay, how am I going to define this? Let your heart tell you, he says. Let your heart answer you. Have a conversation with your heart and let your heart answer you. You don't have to answer. He says that's where people get all caught up. And when you start to hear those answers, just feel it. Just listen and feel it. And know that this is kind of out of left field. This is a little bit he's mad at me for saying that. He's like, no, it's not. He says to remember when you're in this place of like on your hands and knees begging for something better or for the pain to ease up. When you feel like you have exhausted all compassion and capacity to be compassionate with yourself, look further. It's always there. Look deeper. There's more. He says, I promise you. So be compassionate with yourself in the ways that you need to cope and connect. He could just talk forever about this. He says, and
well, maybe
others
we should have one more. Maybe one more. I don't know. Maybe more. Another for the next radio show talking about this subject. Do you have any more material there, Erik?
Yeah, we could, because he wants to go into talking about how when you do develop these connections with your loved ones, how the criticism of others may affect you, or how people let the criticism of others affect them. Like, you come in all excited, oh my gosh, I think I heard from so-and-so today, and others kind of look at you with a stink eye, like, what? You're crazy. And he's like, and then you feel hurt, or just like you say all the time, Mom, when other people don't validate you and your experiences, it's almost like you feel like you lose them all over again. That's a huge experience. That's a huge thing that a lot of people deal with, that he says, too, we can get into maybe at a different time. But guys,
we can do that. We can set a date for next Thursday. Continue this wonderful conversation. Are you ready to take callers?
Yep, he's just encouraging you guys overall to allow yourselves to be intimate with the place that caused your pain, in order to let that be the place that also causes the healing, that also brings healing. So I hope that helps you guys, and hope this message resonates deep, because Erik is really passionate tonight with everybody listening. So I hope you guys feel it.
I know I feel it.
Me
okay,
too.
So guys, we're going to start taking calls from listeners. Now, please limit your just to one question per person, so we can take as many people as we possibly can. Because you know how long-winded Erik could be. Again, I want to thank liveparanormal.com for letting us have this opportunity. So everybody, just close your eyes and give a silent or out loud shout out to liveparanormal.com, because without them, I couldn't do this. So, all right, let's take our first caller from 305 area code. Hi there. Welcome to the show. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
You are? Can you hear me?
Oh, there I am. Yes. Hi.
There, that's better.
Hi.
All right. What question do you
I
have?
hear somebody.
What's your first name and where are you calling from?
My name's Elizabeth, and I'm calling from Rhode Island.
Awesome.
Oh, from Rhode Island. It's cold up there.
Yes, it is. We're going to get some snow tonight.
All right. Not happening in Houston, though. What question do you have for Erik, sweetie?
So, I've had a lot of kind of terrible things happened to me over the years. I lost my parents. I lost my marriage recently, and I had cancer in my leg. And the biggest thing, of course, is the loss of my daughter. She was 17, and her passing anniversary just happened. She passed away on January 2nd, 2013, from a sledding accident. And it was really, as you know, just horrible. And, the discussion that Erik was just talking about is stripping yourself down to nothing. I mean, that was something I would try to explain to people how I felt. And it's been 4 years, and I'm still recuperating. And I know that we're supposed to learn, that we're here at the Earth School to learn lessons, and I feel like I've been getting a lot of lessons. So I'm wondering why and what that means.
A memo, for the love of God.
Wow,
yeah,
that's a lot. This is Erik's response, and know that he's saying this with deep compassion. Okay, I mean that wholeheartedly. He wants to say this first with deep compassion, and then he'll explain a little bit. You said we're here at, the School of Earth or something to that effect about being in school. Mm-hmm. His response to you is, don't keep yourself on probation, like academic probation, by keeping yourself stuck in searching for the lesson. Like, what am I here to learn? What is all this happening for? Because he makes me feel like, as you go through different things in life, for one, this has a lot to do, he says, with the will, the contract that you've built for yourself on a soul level, not an event level, like I'm going to lose my parents, and then I'm going to lose my daughter, and then I'm going to go through this illness. There are things, areas of evolution that you wanted to achieve on the soul level, knowing a sense of independence through loss being one of them, but free will manifest, the events. So, but back to what he was saying, he says, don't keep yourself on academic probation, meaning keeping yourself stagnant in the fear of more to come, like what else is next. If you ponder that, if you contemplate what next, or I can't believe I've been through all this, why? What is that all about? And I know this is tough, but if you look at them as experiences and what you're learning from that, how you've evolved from that, then you continue to move forward, to rise up and above, he says, being, again, he's using the word resurrected through these different events, these different things that have happened in your life, to bring you to a higher place of knowing yourself. A higher place of knowing yourself, that's key. No matter what we go through here on Earth, essentially our soul growth is highly dependent upon the things that we go through and how we evolve from them. So, no matter what we go through, the polarities provided, he says, are vital. They're vital, and they're given to you to know yourself on a much deeper level. So, like when you were talking about, really feeling stripped away to nothing, and knowing yourself in that nothingness and allowing yourself to be there, that's the very place where the divinity of you occurs or resides. Like when all of these things are taken from you, so it seems, self is still here. Self is still present. So connecting to self is key. But he says to tell you, don't keep yourself like on this academic probation, being stuck, being tied down of like what next, like the mentality of what next, or what else am I supposed to go through? Because you create those patterns, you perpetuate those experiences by holding on to that thought process. it's definitely, and of course we're human. It's human nature, so it's difficult to break those patterns. But he says when we reside in that fear and we think about, oh gosh, I never expected that to happen. Well, what next? I never. So it's almost like preparing or thinking, or even having that apprehension. What next is something? What else is going to happen? If you're always on that on guard kind of feeling, you'll have a reason to be. You'll continue to manifest different experiences in your life where it'll leave you looking back going, gosh, that too, So he says, don't think. First of all, don't think about you're being punished, and don't think necessarily there's a lesson in this and that. But Erik doesn't like the word lessons. It's more about evolution through this silver lining. You'll get there. He says, I promise you'll get there. When you can allow yourself to look through the silver lining and allow healing, like my mom, he says, a bigger scale of healing will occur. You may be the conduit of healing for your family members too that are dealing with these losses of your family members. So he just keeps saying, practice that. When you work on that, you'll expand that. You'll be the one to expand that collaterally in your family.
Good.
He goes, is there a such thing as a collateral healer? It's going to be this big ripple effect just in your family? So he's making up words, but
it works.
I think it's really about, what he's saying is it's really about you going to that place of nothingness and still knowing yourself, because when you know yourself in that's the hardest part, because, right, we have these attachments to I'm mom, I'm daughter, I'm sister, I'm brother, and now that person's gone, now what? Or now that they're in a different place, now what? Now who am I? That's the essence of your divinity being reborn and that connection continuing. So I hope that
is so incredibly beautiful and eloquent and deep.
I hope that makes sense to you, because it's, sometimes, Erik, it's really deep that it feels almost aloof, it's intangible. It's really hard to grasp. I hope it makes sense to you, and most importantly, I hope that it helps you, deal with what you're going through in a new way. I hope it brings new perspective and new healing too.
Yeah. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you. Good night.
Take care.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. Well, I think that, I don't know, she didn't really ask a question. Maybe she had another question, but I think Erik just told her what she needs to hear, really, at the moment. So, anyway, we'll go on and take somebody from the 910 area code. Hey there.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm fine. This is Miles.
I knew it.
I'm talking funny because I had almost full-blown pneumonia. I'm talking funny.
Oh, you get better.
A couple of weeks ago, I was at the doctor's office, and you waiting on stuff, and I sat there, I just meditated. I got the shock of my life.
Oh, let's hear it.
There was a forest and the people around, and I saw an exact duplicate of myself right in front of me.
Wow.
Whoa.
And when it was going out.
Erik, what was that all about?
My higher self.
Yeah.
Oh, you think you saw your higher self?
Yes.
That's what.
Wow, Erik, tell us what happened, Erik.
Oh, Miles, I'm so happy to hear your voice. I love when you get on the show. It's so fun. It's just so cool. But Erik is saying, Erik is funny how sometimes he'll just take a very matter-of-fact approach to something, and that's how he is with this. He says, you experienced true consciousness. Actual consciousness is being able to know and see self, observe self from outside of self, from higher self perspective. So he says now, he's kind of laughing, he says, now what I want you to think about is the vibration that you were in and how to maintain that. He's like, that's the trick. That's the hard part. So what you did, and it's different for everybody, what you did to get into that state, practice that, be consistent with it. And then even, he says, you guys, because of the way we perceive time being linear, if you recall it like a memory, it'll come to you like a memory, right? But you can still reconnect to that conscious state of awareness. That event still exists, right? It's suspended somewhere in time, but time really isn't real. So he's saying to go back to that and experience it again. What do you feel? Ask for details. Ask for whatever you want, he says, and you can pull more information from it. He's like, how... Sorry for the language, but he goes, how fucking cool is that?
And there was something else in that meditation. When I I'd never seen a dogwood tree this big and full bloom, and the next thing I know, it disappeared.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful synchronicity. Wow, I can't believe you said that. That's awesome.
And the next day I saw myself as a child in the crawling stage.
Wow. That's incredible. Now listen to yourself, though. Listen to what you're saying. You're conveying the essence of you, knowing yourself, because you've heard it through the Bible. You've heard it through many, beautiful philosophers that tell you to never lose that connection to your inner child, because that's the true essence of who you are, that purity. So that's really powerful, Miles. That's amazing. Erik says you know yourself through new perspective, on a new level.
That's pretty cool, Miles.
Being a higher vibration.
Yeah.
Erik says, I asked him if he can kind of come in and be closer to you to help you get through this pneumonia, and he says he will. He's like standing behind you with his hands on your shoulder. So that's his symbol to me, saying that he'll help you to feel better, to heal.
Oh, Miles got a new buddy.
Yeah.
Well, get well, buddy. Get well, Miles.
I appreciate it. And I love y'all.
We love you, Miles.
We love you, Miles.
Take care. We'll be sending lots of thoughts and prayers for you to get better.
Oh, thank you.
Everybody send Miles some healing energy.
Yes. You know why I love him? I love him because I have family from West Virginia. I used to live there, and he reminds me of them. He sounds like them. It makes me feel like home.
That's so cool. Okay, we're going to take somebody from the 714 area code. Hi there.
Awesome. Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, I want Elise and Kim and Erik and everyone listening, I want to thank you so much. Elise, I know you've gone through a lot of pain in your life, and I want to thank you for that, because your pain has allowed everyone to benefit. So thank you for being so strong.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm not always that strong, but thank you so much.
Hey,
What's your
but you
name?
are that strong because you continue to share your love with everyone, and your love has allowed me to come to a place of complete peace and love for everything. So if anything, I just want to thank you from my heart and let you know that your sharing your love with everyone has enabled me to be in heaven 24 hours a day. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're so sweet. Your words really mean so much to me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and
yes, you're welcome. I can't thank you enough. I mean, I might even name a daughter after you. That's how much I love you.
Oh, you're so sweet. I love you too. What is your first name so I know who I love here?
My name is Joey Herman.
Oh. Joey. Okay, Joey, thank you so much for that. You have just made my whole week.
Well, thank you. Hey, listen. So if I can make your whole life, I will too. But that's only up to you. You know what I'm saying?
I know. That's what they keep telling me. Do you have a question for Erik?
Well, you know what? Right now, I just want to thank you guys. And my question isn't really for me. It's for my mother. So my mother was diagnosed with a lung disease, and I wanted to ask you guys and Erik what she could do to better help herself and how I could help her as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Very selfless. There's a lot
Joey's
you can do, actually. There's a lot you can do.
Good.
The first couple things in a hands-on way, he says he recommends this combination a lot. If you can get your hands on like essential oil of frankincense, bring it to her. But it's in a form of like that she can. He keeps saying taste, but I think he means like ingest, like to drink it or take it, ingest it. And then
when you like put drops in some liquid or some water and drink it a few times a day, or can it be more specific?
He says you got it, Mom. However she can ingest it, it'll be good for her. Anything you can give her natural for inflammation, he says, that will help too. Seems like she's got a lot of inflammation.
How about CBD water stemming from the marijuana plant? It's an extract of the marijuana. Is that helping her at all?
Yeah. What about that?
He says it's helping.
That's a great anti-inflammatory.
Yeah, he says it's helping in a lot of ways. It seems to be helping inflammation, pain. It's like he keeps giving me my symbol for like all across the board, so it must be helping in every way. Pain, discomfort, asymptomatic, like kind of helping to reduce the symptoms that she's experiencing.
So should she use that too?
Yeah, he says to continue, provide that for her, and continue. He says, I don't know if her mobility is affected somehow, but it seems like he's talking about being there for her physically to help her. So I don't know if she just gets fatigued easily, or if her mobility is affected and her endurance is compromised. But it's like I feel like she needs physical help too, just around the house.
So something like yoga, or like some kind of physical exercise. Would yoga help her?
He says, because it'll help to like maintain the state that she's in physically, so that she doesn't decline. But I also feel like like her body's trying to heal, so let it heal. So if you can help her with activities of daily things like laundry or whatever it may be, she needs to conserve energy, he says.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. And I want to thank you all, and then I also wanted to thank Erik and all of you. I released my first comedy album last Monday called In Joey, and it was inspired by the help of you guys. So please check it out. It's free. And I want to ask Erik one last question. I want to know what he thought of the album, honestly. He can be honest with me.
Where can we find it? Tell us where we can find it.
Oh, you can find it online for free. It's called In Joey, ENJOEY, Joey Herman. And it's my first comedy album that I released. It's like 20 years of spiritual practice in 45 minutes.
Wow.
I'll have to check it out.
I asked him, I said, Erik, can you describe it in one word? He gets a real deep tone, and he says raw. So,
raw?
Yeah, he says raw, like it's real, it's raw. So,
thank you. Thank you.
We'll have to check that out. It's like authentic. It feels raw. It's like,
if I find it, then I'll put it on the blog so everybody can enjoy it.
All right, cool. Yeah, it's in Joey, ENJOEY, Joey Herman. It's free for everyone. And can I ask him one last question? I'm working on this new album. What does he think of the concept?
He goes, nope. It's what you think of the concept, what matters. He goes,
okay. Well, tell him that I love him, and tell him. You can hear me now. I just want to let everyone know that everything that everyone's taught to me is going to be turned into a cartoon that's going to be infinitely greater than Star Wars, and the name of the cartoon is the Buddha Brothers.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. I love you both. And if you guys ever need anything, just please reach out, because I'm here to help you guys as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Joey.
Thank you.
All right, peace and love.
Oh, I hope I can find that.
Very cool.
All right. So, we'll try to get another call in here from the 410 area code. Hey, there.
Hello? Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, man, this is like except for one person, this is like an all-male cast here. It's pretty cool.
I know.
It's
yeah.
I like it.
I'm digging
What's
it.
your first name?
My name is Kevin.
Okay. You got a question for Erik?
Yeah, I do. So the last couple of years I've been having a lot of, I guess, mental turmoil over a lot of back health issues I've been having. I have, like, bad stenosis, arthritis in my back, and I'm a young guy. I'm, like, 27, so it's kind of... Yeah, I've already had back surgery, and things were fine. Then I'm having a little relapse and stuff, and I've tried a bunch of different medical things, and my fiance suggested the possibility of doing any sort of energetic healing. I'm completely oblivious to how that would even go about. So any help from Erik about that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. He says to, I don't know if you, I don't know a whole lot about your condition or what's happening, but Erik says to look into circulation in that area of the body. It seems like circulation is compromised, is not complete, like up to par as it should be. So I don't know what that means to you. I don't know how you can or if you already know about it, but look into circulation because there seems to be some issues with that because, circulation being important, he says, because of healing and nourishment to that area of the body on the physical level. On the energetic level, he just keeps giving me these strong images of necrosis, like necrotic things dying, because of he says difficult circulation. So whatever you want to call it. But maybe just see if you could look into that. And I don't know how you could, but he seems to think that there's some circulation issues to that area of the spine, to the low back. Now also, on the energetic level, look into, there's something with finances he's talking about. Okay. See, energetically, we carry things all over our bodies, okay, that are, finances, relationships, passion, those sorts of things we carry at the lower level, down by the hips, down in the low back area. Creative self-esteem, self-confidence is a little bit higher by the belly button. So look into the chakra levels as reference points to start with. Understand what they mean, understand what they represent, and then look into your life in ways that maybe those things are ill. So let's say you have an ill relationship. Maybe you and your best friend just had a major falling out, and you're carrying that. Or, something's always happening in that respect. There's on the energetic level, you're carrying a lot from the past. And essentially what's happening is it's manifesting physically now because your body is trying to get rid of that lower vibration, and that's why it's manifesting physically. So as far as energy healing, the first thing you need to understand, he says, is not to give your power away. You have the capacity to heal yourself on an energetic level. Even if you were to go to another healer and say, okay, this is what I'm dealing with, let's start, doing some sessions together, they're just the channel, but you receive the healing. So essentially, if you receive the healing and you allow yourself to receive it, you're healing yourself. But you have to also, this is where he's acting like a dad. He says, you also have to believe in your body's ability to heal itself. Because if you always preface anything with, but I got this thing going on with my back, and it's always been there, and it's probably not going to get better, so it is what it is. Sure, there's an element of acceptance, but also there's an element of faith that you need to work on. He says faith in your body and the ability for it to heal itself. So that is on a mental level.
And that for me is the hardest part. It's just I'm always stuck in my head.
Yeah.
So. Faith is always the hard part.
It is. It's moving beyond what the eyes can see and at the soul level, like trusting. And so he says, trust in your body's ability to heal. You may not know how, and your ego is going to say, how? How am I going to heal? What's it going to look like? When is it going to come? All of that stuff. But you have to hush all of that shit, he says. You have to hush all of those thoughts and just hold that higher vibration of belief that your body can do it. 2, he also says that in another way that you battle in the head space is almost like, I feel like you wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, how's my back? Or like, you know, you go for a long drive and you get out of the car and you're like, okay, how's my back? So if you're always there, if you're always thinking about it and connecting to it in that way, like in a negative way, then you're going to perceive it that way. So I know this is a tall order, but he says, try not to think about it. Sometimes, yeah, I know. But
yeah, don't think about that white elephant.
Sometimes when things are so simple, we can't accept it because we're used to complexities in life. Yeah. He says we're used to things being difficult and being complex, and when it's that simple, don't think about it so much. It's really hard to accept that concept, but try it. He says practice that because I feel like you check in with your back all the time. Of course, if you're in pain, it's hard not to.
It's hard to avoid.
Yeah, unless like my mind's completely taken off of it by working on something, doing something artistic, or just being with people I love, then my head's just right there. So, and also I want to point out my fiance is pretty well in touch with Eric, and she's just been the whole time listening, being like, "Yeah, I told you. I knew this was going to happen." Yeah.
Good. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric, you know, he's pretty awesome the way he connects with people, and he will give guidance, but his guidance is always, you know, baseline going to be to make you look at yourself and listen to your heart. So, you know, it's hard, but it's simple to try not to think about it. Yeah, hold that higher vibration. Have faith, knowing your body can heal itself. I've seen it happen. It's possible. You just hold that.
Everybody
thank you, guys.
Send him healing energy, everybody.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. It means a lot.
You're so welcome. I wish you the best.
Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
All right. I've been trying to look for Joey Herman, but can you email me, Joey, if you're still on the line, emedhoos@gmail.com, so I can post your routine on the blog. Anyway,
just said it.
emedhoos@gmail.com.
I think he said it was njoey.com, like ENJOEY, maybe? I'll give it a try.
.com. Ah. All right. Before we close, would you like to share anything, Kim?
Sure. A couple of things coming up, you guys. There's a lot of emotion building as we approach the event in Houston. The Channeling Eric event will be at Elisa's house. You guys will have a chance to, this is probably, I don't know how many more times this will happen, but this is a real intimate chance to connect with Mama Medhoos and the family and, you know, the place where all of this began. You know, this is a place where all of this began, and it was turned around for you guys and made better for you guys. So as we host this event in Houston, I want you guys to remember that. You know, I'm sure there's going to be pictures up. I'm sure people will talk about it and post about it. But remember that, you know, it's coming full circle, and this is where it all started. This is a real experience that happened to a family, and this has also been the catalyst of healing. You know, Elisa has turned this around for you guys to help you guys achieve healing in what you're going through too. So keep that in mind. It'll be at the end of the month, January 20th, that weekend. And then also in February, I'm going to do an event locally in Columbus. Go figure, right? It's about time. And then a lot of you folks have asked me to come to the West Coast, so I'm going to try my best to make it to Laguna Beach in March. So I hope to see you guys there. And I hope that tonight's show touched your hearts, because I know it definitely did mine. And you too, Elisa. You know, the way I always tell you, the way he connects to you and the way you ground his energy is just amazing. I've never seen anything like it, and it's
a mama thing.
I'm so honored to be a part of it. It's truly touching.
Well, I can't wait to meet you for the first time.
I know, guys. Believe it or not, we've never met in person. So
you want to hang out in the hot tub?
It'll be awesome.
Fun.
It'll be so much fun.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being on the show. And Kim, thank you for being my boy's voice. I appreciate it. I love you, Erik, so much more than you even possibly could know.
You're welcome. He says, I love you, Mama. He's so funny. Bye. He's showing an image of sitting on your lap like a big gorilla.
Oh, he used to. I used to make him sit on. He was 20 years old, and I'd have him sit on my lap. He was not too crazy about it, but all right, guys. Love you all, and
love you guys.
Until next Thursday.
That's right. Thanks for listening. Good night.
Bye.